Run It Back Philly is brought to you by Aura, Identity Theft Protection. Don't become a victim of identity theft. 39 million people just last year were victims of identity theft. Protect yourself. Go to aura.com/runitback. Sign up for a 14-day free trial. See what Aura can do for you. They have an amazing app, and it comes with a VPN also, and antivirus software, and all kinds of great things. Check it out, aura.com/runitback, 14-day free trial. Link is in the description.
Run It Back Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros.
So here's the PJ Tucker situation, and it gets complicated with the Sixers cap space and what they would need to move, what things they would need to move around to be able to clear that enough cap space to sign PJ Tucker. It gets complicated, and it's also funny because you had three different reporters kind of going back and forth. Tom, I forget his last name. Tom, Keith Pompey. Tom someone, I forget his last name. I'll read it here in a second. And then Tom Moore, there he is. And then Mark Stein kind of shut both of them down. So we got a three-way battle of reporters. We got a three-way, Woj, Shams, wannabe war going on about the PJ Tucker situation. So here we go. Philadelphia Inquirer's Keith Pompey wrote that multiple sources have the Sixers intending to offer him a 3-year, $30 million contract, right? A report that's been contested and supported. Pompey noted, right now the Sixers don't have the cap space available to sign him for $10 million per season. As a result, they would have to clear space in order to fit in his salary. Sources said the Sixers are looking to make a 3-team trade that could involve Matisse Thybulle and the number 23 pick. Obviously, that's not going to happen now because we already traded the 23 pick for De'Anthony Melton, which I, again, think is an amazing trade for us. On June 24th, Tom Moore of the Bucks County Courier-Times shut down Pompey's report. While the Heat can only go as high as $26 million over 3 years for Tucker, who shot 41% on three-pointers last season, an NBA source said the Sixers aren't trading to trim salary to use a non-taxpayer MLE, so Tucker almost surely won't become a 76er. Tom Moore writes, Keith Pompey, PJ Tucker's going to be a Sixer. Tom Moore, no the not. Shut the up, Keith Pompey, Tom Moore says. So in comes Mark Stein. 2 days after Moore reports, NBA insider Mark Stein says, oh yeah, let me get in on this measuring competition. I'll tell you both what's up. Mark Stein reported in his newsletter on Sunday, June 26th, that Tucker landing with the Sixers is not only still in play, but the most likely scenario to play out once free agency negotiations can begin on Thursday, June 30th. Take that, little peons. I'm Mark Stein. I say what goes. Just kidding. Stein wrote, numerous rival teams, meanwhile, say with even more conviction now than they did last week when I first reported it on Wednesday that they expect PJ Tucker to land in Philadelphia on a 3-year, $30 million deal in free agency. So there's the battle between reporters on the PJ Tucker situation. Now let's talk about this. Let's talk about how can the Sixers sign PJ Tucker if they have a whole bunch of cap space issues and PJ Tucker wants $10 million a year. Article from Liberty Ballers. Can the Sixers still acquire PJ Tucker now that De'Anthony Melton is in town? Because remember, we got rid of Danny's $10 million, but we also brought back $4+ million, we brought back $8 million a year in De'Anthony Melton's contract, so that trade is a good trade for the Sixers, but you only cleared about $2 million in cap space. I know, math class with Eastwood. Now let's get into it with the Liberty Ballers article, because I think this breaks down the money pretty clearly, and it gives us an idea because it gets complicated, okay? So when De'Anthony Melton is in town via splash trade, we know that. Keith Pompey reported, multiple sources. Yeah, Tom Moore says you're wrong. Mark Stein says Keith is right, you're wrong. So here's some of the numbers here, okay? If Harden opts into his player option of $47 million, they'll hover around $151.7 million in total salary for next season, committed to 13 players. There's not a lot of wiggle room. 310 people in here. Lunchtime Live, Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Please, everybody, hit the like button. Give me 300 likes on the stream. Share the stream. Get more people in here. Share it on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Tell your friends. Text your mom. Text your grandma. All that stuff, man. Push the content. Do your boy a favor. Let's continue. Here's Mark Stein basically laying down the law, saying, I'm right, you're wrong. Teams believe P.J. Tucker will sign with the Sixers. Okay, so here we go. If we're penciling in Harden for his option, so say James Harden opts into the $47 million, as Bleacher Report's Jake Fisher reported will happen, there's still a few roadblocks. If the Sixers found a new home without taking back salary in exchange for a couple of Furkan Korkmaz and Matisse Thybulle, they could potentially thread a very slim needle. So if they would trade Matisse and Furkan basically for draft picks, they would clear enough cap space. But then you'd be giving up a player in Matisse Thybulle who actually has value and could actually bring you back something of value in a trade. So you don't really want to, even though we talk about him being unplayable in the playoffs and we say all the things that we want to say about Matisse Thybulle and his offensive game, you still know that he has value because of what people think of his defensive ability. So you don't want to just give up Matisse Thybulle for nothing, right? You don't want to give up Matisse Thybulle just to clear cap space when you could bring something back for him. So they need to remain under the luxury tax apron, projected to land around $155.7 million in order to open up a non-taxpayer's mid-level exception to make this possible offer to Tucker. The non-taxpayer mid-level exception figures to be around $10.3 million for 2023, just fitting that 3-year $30 million we've been hearing about. So there's one way. If they can get the non-taxpayers mid-level exception, they would have 10.3 for 2023, and P.J. Tucker wants $10 million. So you're splitting hairs. Daryl Morey's working, moving around pennies and nickels and dimes. Really, you know what I mean? Well, how about $29,678,423.76? PJ, what do you say to that? Anyway, Tucker 37 would be 40 as that hypothetical framework came to an end. Shams Charania first reported that Tucker plans to hit unrestricted free agency. All right, let's continue the complication. If the Sixers keep costs low, they can potentially finagle a $4 million biannual exception as well. However, if they cannot stay under the apron, they'd have to work with a projected $6.3 million smaller taxpayers mid-level exception and perhaps a minus $2.5 million vet floor salary player. That's exactly why. Actually, I was pretty good at math. I just hated it. But as Daryl Morey said about trading pick number 23, we're trying to win now. We're looking for players who can contribute. Then at another point in his media availability, he said we might need another wing. So both of those comments do little to dispel the notion that they'd be intrigued by adding Tucker despite his age if the price were right. Paul Hudrick has reported the Sixers will not just dump good players. Moving on from Korkmaz and Thybulle in order to make room would seem to amount to just that. Exactly kind of what I just said, that they're not just going to give up Matisse Thybulle for no reason. One can tie their mind into a knot by trying to figure out if the team would be better off with Tucker and maybe several veteran minimum salaries while dealing with a dreaded hard cap versus scenarios retaining Thybulle, Korkmaz, one veteran minimum salary, a $6 million mid-level exception, and perhaps a bit of non-hard cap flexibility during the season. But maybe they could get a future asset in exchange that didn't ding them on the 2023 cap hit. We did hear rumors of interest around the NBA for Thybulle on draft night. I didn't intend to give myself a headache on this stream. Brian Toporek says the Sixers will likely have the taxpayer mid-level exception in free agency, but if they carve out enough room under the apron for non-taxpayer MLE, I wrote about 6 guys who might be of interest in that price range, and he had P.J. Tucker on the headline there. So there you go. there's all the PJ Tucker math. There's all the Sixers cap space math. There's all the ways that they could possibly make room, make cap space, create cap space to sign a guy like PJ Tucker. What do you guys think, man? I don't know. Like, I definitely don't want the Sixers to just give up Matisse Thybulle for nothing, because I know he has value, because you might be able to bring back a wing player in a Matisse Thybulle trade. And then I kind of ask myself, then would I rather have an athletic wing or PJ Tucker at 37 years old? So that's another question that I ask myself that I don't really have an answer for yet.